Hey everybody, welcome to the Rustic South. It's Sherry. Today we're going to make a grungy fat cat. There he is on screen, so cute. So give it a chance, see what you think. So here's the pattern. So it's 12 inches tall by 8.5 inches at the widest point. I will see if I can add it to my community tab, the pattern that I made for it. So what I did was I took some of those shammy towels that you can get at Dollar Tree. Now I know they used to have them. I don't know if they have them anymore. Hopefully they still do, but I did coffee stain them several months ago. And you have to cut out two, of course, one for front and back. And I opted to sew mine together this time. Now I don't often sew. I usually glue everything. So please forgive me if you're a sewer and you see me doing something that's like, oh my gosh, please forgive me, because I am not an avid sewer, but I do try my best. So so here you're going to see me sewing the front and back together with what you would pick as your right sides together, right? So decide which side of the chamois cloth that you want, or towel or fabric, whatever you're going to use to make this, okay? Now I will not be painting this or anything. I already did coffee stain it, so if you're going to paint it, you might want to pick something else that's not kind of fuzzy. Painting and fuzzy material don't usually go that great together, but you never know. So so here you see me sewing it together. And this is a really simple project, guys. Really simple, doesn't take long. Just you have to pick out what you're going to use as for the material, right? So one thing I would suggest is along the top edge where you're going to leave it open. There it is, sewn together and turned inside out. Along the top edge where you're going to put the ears, because the ears are made out of the same fabric, but I do put cardboard in between them to make them stiff. I would leave about a 1/4 inch at the top that's not sewn on both sides, so that you can put the ears in, and I show you in a little bit. I glue it together. Okay, so I would not sew it completely all the way to the end. I would leave about a 1/4 of an inch unsewn. But you may want to sew yours. I didn't want to do it because to me it just looked like it was going to be a hot mess if I did it. Again, I'm not an avid sewer, so if you are, go for it. So there's the pattern, there's the fabric after we've sewn it together, and then you're going to pick which side you want to be the front, which one looks best to you to be the front. And then you're going to get yourself some sand or some rocks. Now I put it in, we have these snack bags in our kitchen there. They hold about a cup of snacks. So I put the sand in one of those little baggies. And you could also use a bag from the grocery store. You could use anything, but that's what I decided to use. I didn't even think about a grocery bag till now. But so fill that up and put it in the bottom, and I laid it long ways across the bottom, right? And you want to make sure when you stuff your cat that you want it nice and stiff. I mean, it's still gonna be soft, but you want it nice and full, not stiff, but full, right? So be sure and put that stuffing down in the corners, so that you don't have a bunch of wrinkles and odd little shapes, right, coming that you can see, if that makes sense. So there he's pretty full, pretty fat. And he will definitely stand up on his own very nicely. Yeah, I set it down and he doesn't move. It's real good. It's real good about standing up straight. So here I'm going to take One of these socks from the Dollar Tree I had gotten a while back. Again, I have coffee stained them. I put mine outside to dry, but if you put yours in the oven, then go for it. Goodness. So here I'm showing you that I'm cut the ears. Now there is no pattern for the ears. I just kind of winged it. And I held them up to see if they would fit across the top with a little space in between. And I opted to put cardboard in the middle because I wanted the ears to be stiff. Now, if you don't want them stiff, if you don't want them stiff, then don't put the cardboard in between. But if you're going to put the cardboard in between, of course, cut it shorter than the sides for the cloth for the ears. And then I glued it down. Allergy season. I'm so sorry. So I glue the cardboard in, and then I believe I glued the top. I put a little glue on the top. At least I found this to be the easiest way when you're sewing it, because you can't really pin these because of the cardboard, right? So what I would do is I would glue it on the bottom one, and then put a little glue on the top of the cardboard and put the top piece of the ear on. Then sew it if you're going to sew it, because on the sewing machine it has a tendency to want to move because you don't have anything holding them together, because you can't pin them. So put glue on both sides and then sew it on the sewing machine if you're going to. It will be easier. I did mess up one of mine a little bit, but you know what? Again, it's all just adds character, So don't get too finicky. Unless, of course, you're going to sell them. Okay, so here I'm trying to figure out which the front and which side I want to use for front and back. So when I place the ears on, and front and back of ears, and then I decide I'm going to grunge the ears a little bit, because I don't really want to see that white stitching from the sewing machine. So I decide to get out my stamp pad and grunge the stitching part of the ear. So, if you don't have these socks, and if you use the shammy or whatever you use for the material for the cat, you can use the same thing for the ears, right? You don't have to pick anything different. I just decided that I had these socks available, and I decided that those socks would work for me. So that's what I grabbed. And I was going to paint this because I was actually going to do it out of fabric and then paint it. But I really like this chamois, the softness of the chamois material. So that's what I went for. Alright, time to glue some ears on. So again, if you're going to sew this on, then I hope you know how to sew really well, because to me this would just give me anxiety thinking about sewing these on the top and sewing it together and everything else. Oh my gosh. So I'm gluing mine right on the inside at the top. And again, before you glue the top closed, stuff it a little more. Now that's one thing I didn't do, and I wish I would have stuffed the top of it just a little more. I don't know why I didn't think about it. I mean, he's okay, but he's pretty full, but I would have liked just a little bit more stuffing in the top. So before you close it up, see if you think it needs more stuffing. Okay, and if you're going to glue it shut, I would just do, one side at a time so that you don't have all that glue, there and possibly burning yourself again. Okay, so please be careful with a hot glue gun. These babies are hot. The glue is hot. This time I did kind of get it on my finger because it does come through fabric, so be very careful. We did okay. Nothing bad. See, ouch. So yeah, just do one side at a time. That way you're not in a hurry to try to get it closed. This is where I would stuff it. I would glue one side and then I would stuff it a little more and then glue the other side is what I would do if I were you. Okay. Hey, and let me take this opportunity to thank everyone who has subscribed to the channel, who have made comments. I'm enjoying reading your comments. Oh, I'm so sorry about my voice, my gosh. I'm enjoying reading your comments. And I did take the advice of somebody and I sewed the cat, and that was not stressful at all. But sewing can give me a little anxiety just because I'm not that comfortable with it. But again, thank you so much for commenting and subscribing and sharing the videos. I'm having so much fun making videos for you guys. I'm hoping you're enjoying it. And if you're a newcomer, if you're new to the channel, welcome. So welcome to the Rustic South community. We like to have fun here. Here's a picture of him sitting near the front door. Okay, so now it's time to make what they call a sculpted nose. All right, so this is not difficult at all, but it may be a little difficult to explain. Not really, I don't think. Okay, so you're going to take your thread. So I'm going to take the embroidery thread that I always use, the dark brown, and I double it in my needle, okay? And you're going to put a knot on the end. And then you're going to poke it in, because you have to have two sides of the nose. So you're going to poke it in where you want, let's say, the right side of the nose to be. And then you're going to go under the fabric to the left side and poke it out. But when you go under the fabric, you're also going to try to make sure that you get some of that stuffing. That you're pulling some of that stuffing up, right? That will help to make the sculpted nose, fuller. So you're going to get some stuffing in there and push it through and come out the left. All right, so then you're going to have your needle, and you're going to have the needle in your left hand, and you're going to have the knot on the right side, or vice versa, depending whatever way you want to go. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so you're going to pull it kind of tight. You don't have to start at this moment being tight, but then you're going to go down about 1/4 of an inch, and then you're going to poke it in and come out the right side again. And you can see on screen, I'm pulling it tight and I'm holding it with my left hand. Then you're going to come out on the right side, and you're going to, with holding the thread in your left hand, holding it tight, you're going to go down about 1/4 of an inch, poke it in, pull it, see, out on the left side, and hold it tight. You're going to keep doing this all the way down as far as you want the nose to be. Now I measured the nose when I got done with it, and mine is 4 inches long. You do not have to make it that long. You can do whatever you wish for the nose. But in all of the pictures I saw, I thought it was cute. I like the sculpted nose and I wanted it long. I thought it was cute. So it's totally up to you if you want to make it not so far up. You can make it further down. You can put his eyes further down, not have his eyes up that high, so you don't have to start at the top. But just do the same thing. Keep going in 1/4 like little 1/4 inch increments down the fabric until you get the nose to the length that you want it. And all in the same time pulling it taut, but not tight enough that you're going to, rip a hole or pull it through the fabric, what have you, right? But just keeping it tight and going back and forth, 1/4 inch lengths, right? Again, I didn't measure it when I was doing it. I just periodically, here we go, we're going to turn them and see how long it is. Is that where I want it? Nope, longer. Okay, so that's how I did it. So I left this part of the video whole. I didn't fast forward it because I wanted you to be able to see how I did it, so that your questions should be answered right here on the video, right? It's simple to do. I found it very simple. I mean, when I first started, I started doing it the wrong way. I had the string going across the top of the nose, and I was like, that's not right. That's not how it looks. So then you have to go under, keep going, under and out on one side, down and under on the other side. Just go back and forth until you find the spot where you want to stop. You may want to, stick a needle in there, a pin or a safety pin or any kind of needle to kind of let you know where you want the nose to stop. But it's up to you. I didn't do that. I just kept going and kept turning it around and looking at it. And again, make sure you're grabbing some of that stuffed cotton, when you're sticking that needle in, so that it can add to the nose. Okay, so I think this is where I'm going to stop. And maybe not. As I go another couple. It doesn't matter which side you start on or which side you end on. It does not matter. That's why I ended up doing a couple more. I'm sorry my hand is like covering it, but doing a video and then trying to sew it at the same time, is a little more not difficult, but I guess tasking than I thought it would be, or at least not trying to block the video. Okay, so I think this is where I decide I'm going to stop. So I cut the string off, same time holding it taut still. It's not going to come unraveled or anything. So just tie a knot, and you're going to cut it off really, really close to the, down to where you're tying. I do it like 2 or 3 times to make sure the knot is good. And you, of course, don't want it to pull through the fabric. If you don't want to, at this point, if you don't want to cut it, you could just leave it hanging, and then you could go to doing his nose, not the nose, but the mouth part of it. Here I'm going to work the whiskers. You can also do the whiskers, and you probably wouldn't have to cut it. So you could probably just keep it long and keep it going. I did, after I cut it, I was like, why did I cut that? I could have just left it, and then I make the whiskers or the bottom part of the mouth without cutting it, right? But I did. Anyway, I cut it, no big deal. You just insert it again. So here we're doing the whiskers, and what I did was I inserted it on one side of the nose. Figure out how long you want your whiskers. leave it, and then just weave it back and forth until you get, you know, I don't know, 8, 10 whiskers. I'm not even sure how many whiskers a cat should have, or if there is a certain amount. But so that's what I did. I just weaved it back and forth, and then so now I'm going to pair up the strings on each side and put little knots in them, because one thing that will keep them from coming out. Another thing that will kind of give it a little more structure at the nose part, the whiskers, that is. Okay, so you're going to put a couple, 2 or 3 knots on each side in each pair of the strings, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. You can see on screen I'm taking pairs of the embroidery yarn and I'm knotting them together, okay? And by the end, it will have a few more whiskers too, because on mine, I did his mouth and nose twice. That was because I forgot to video it the first time I did it for you guys. So when I did it a second time, that added a couple more whiskers. So again, not a big deal. I think mine has, looks like 2, 4, 6, 8. Looks like mine has 10, probably 10 per side. So, you know, and they're all kind of different lengths. They're not all the same. So, okay, so just tie them up. And there you got your whiskers. And I think now we're going to put the eyes on. So since we did the nose up so high, we have to put the eyes up high, okay? That was kind of tricky too, but because the buttons that I picked are so small, so it's kind of hard to explain to you how to do the eyes, but I think if you watch the video, you'll see. You just kind of have to not pull the eye too tight until you're like done with sewing it a couple of different times, right? Because it is so little and you're trying not to see the thread behind the button. So you kind of have to leave it a little loose and do, you know, a few stitches and then eventually pull it tight. And then you can hide all the stitches. And then when you get done with one button, which you'll see me doing here in a minute, I will stick it through and come out the other side of the nose so that I can put the other eye on with the same. Here I'm going under and over. Okay, under and over to the next side so I can put the other button on all at the same time. And now be done with it. You know, we do make bloopers as a creator on YouTube. You do make bloopers that people don't see. Well, at least you guys don't see mine most of the time. But I made a blooper on the eyes too. I went around the outside and came over the top, and I was like, what am I doing? So I had to cut that one off and do it again. Anyway, all right. So when you get done doing both of the eyes, cut the string, tie it tight, and put a knot. Tie the knot behind the eye, of course, and clip it off behind the eye. So there, now we have the eyes on and the whiskers on. Now we got to do the bottom part of the mouth. Okay. See, now I start this and I think one of my kids comes in and says something to me, and then I think I get up and okay, so I poke. So this is where so this is how you're going to disguise it. Okay, you're going to put it in, put the embroidery thread in through where you have the whiskers for the nose. You can either leave it long to add more whiskers, or you can pull it tight to the nose, and it will be hidden by the chamois cloth, right? So then you're going to come out in the center of the nose. Now, this is where I have to stop and go do something with one of my kids, and I have to come back, and I forgot to turn on the video. So now we're going to do it again. So there he is with his mouth that I sewed earlier, but I'm going to show you again how to do this. So this time I'm going to go in from the left side, and I'm going to come out. Now, it doesn't matter where you come out, you just kind of have to think about it like a puzzle, right? Like, okay, where am I going to come out? Where am I going from here? How am I going to poke it through and come out where I need to go next without it being seen, right? So it's all kind of like placing the puzzle pieces in just the right way, right? So this time I go in through the left side and come out in the middle of his mouth, if you will. Okay, so now this time I decide to leave it as whiskers. Okay, so this time I am going to leave the ends of the thread long. I'm just showing you that it's connected. Okay, leave them long so that I can add more whiskers. So I tie 2 or 3 knots, and you're going to see here when I pull it tight, I actually pulled it all the way through the fabric because the knot is not quite big enough for me to pull it as tight as I do. So if you watch me here, I pull it, and it actually pulls, there it comes through the fabric. So I actually was like, ooh, so I grab it and I pull it back out, back through. It comes back out just fine. Comes back through, so I tie a couple more knots in it to make sure that it doesn't do that again. Right, so if that happens to you, not a big deal. Just go slow and pull it back through and put a couple more knots in it, and you should be good to go. Okay, so here we're going to work the puzzle. Which way are we going to go? Left, right, up? Okay, so I'm going to go up, and then you have to decide, okay, now where am I going to go? So that's going to do my up, and I'm going to come out over here on the end of this side and poke it through. Again, you can start at any place and do this any direction you want to do. You just have to, again, make it work like a puzzle. All right, so now I'm going to go up here, and then we're going to make it come out the other end, the other side on the bottom. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just trying to demonstrate. It's funny because I talk when I'm doing this, knowing that I'm still going to do a voiceover, but anyway. We are almost done. So please consider subscribing to the channel if you like the video, if you like my videos that I'm making, if you're enjoying the crafts. It would be such a pleasure to have you as a subscriber. And if you do make the craft, please show us. Please download a picture of it to the community tab. I would love to see your fat cat. I have a fat cat too. Anyway, so, and she's adorable. She's black, brown, and white. I guess a calico, huh? Okay, so we're going to poke it back in here, and then I'm going to come out on the other side of the whiskers because, again, you don't want to see the knot anywhere in the mouth area, right? So I'm coming out in the whisker area, and I will leave whiskers, or you could cut it off really short if you don't want to add any more whiskers. See, I'm going in through the middle of the mouth and coming out up in the whiskers, so we can hide and disguise the knot, okay? So yeah, so that's like basically Grungy Fat Kitty is done, right? That would be like the last step, unless you're going to, if you want to put some sort of necklace on him, like a cat would be with the bell or what have you. I just didn't like the look. It was just kind of awkward because he doesn't have an official neck and body, you know what I mean, area. So I kind of took a grungy safety pin and put a grungy bell on him. And since he was a fat cat, I felt like a big bell worked. So that is Fat Kitty. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you'll subscribe. I hope you'll share. I hope you'll leave a comment. And I certainly hope you enjoyed the video and come back again. Thank you so much for watching. So here I'm going to take a little bit of the brown and crunch up his face just a little around the nose, the mouth area. We don't really do too much grunging on this one because I already did the fabric earlier. And you know how cats are never all one color. Well, some cats are. Like I have a black one that, of course, is all one color except for her toes. But yeah, she has boots. Not really boots, but some black, some white on her feet. Anyway, so we don't really do too much grunging on this because the fabric is already grunged at a different time. So I do a little bit on her face. To me, everything is a her. Him, her. The cat. Okay, so just be aware when you look at my video, my cat has, the mouth on my cat is doubled, so it's gonna, the fabric, or no, the sewing on it's gonna look a little bit thicker maybe than what yours might be. I won't hear, because I don't think by then I hadn't doubled it at this point. I did it after the fact. So there is Kitty sitting in the doorway, coming in the house. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.